The first Descendant is a new game that just came out. It's a looter shooter, kind of like Warframe. But I'm not a huge fan of the first Descendant. I thought I would like it more. I like the boss fights a lot. I enjoy the boss fights. But the core game, the core grind, you can't even get new abilities to change. Not a fan of all of that, man. I really wish there was more stuff. If you just want to play a game and not think about shit, then it's not a horrible game to play. Let's jump into IGN and see what they got to say about it.
With so many live service games vying for your attention, the first Descendant feels like it was focus group tested to please as many people as possible, and it's fated for mediocrity as a result. This unabashedly derivative shooter borrows tired ideas from better games, covers them in a thick layer of free-to-play annoyances, then pads the whole thing out with mind-numbingly repetitive missions.
He could end the video right there. He could end the video right there, I'm not gonna lie. He hit the nail on, like, he spit. He already spit straight truths, bro. That is everything that is wrong with this game in a nutshell, I'm not gonna lie, bro. That was it. That's the whole video. That's all I needed to hear. It feels like a combination of every other game, which is what I've said from day one, but it doesn't do anything that those other games do as well as they do it. That's the biggest problem with this game.
Just in case you were still managing to have fun. That's unfortunate, because underneath all that cheap wood and crumbling drywall is a really strong foundation, with entertaining gunplay and charismatic characters I'd like to get to know better. The first Descendant is by no means the first live service game to come out of the oven half-baked, so there's always a chance updates will make it more palatable in the months and years to come, but it's...
Okay, he's spitting there. Isn't this game like Helldivers 2 but worst? Who told you that? Pause the video, bro. Pause everything. You know it took everything in my power to not ban you just then, bro. I'm not gonna lie. No, Helldivers is nothing like this game, and this game is nothing like Helldivers at all. If anything, this game is closer to a Warframe or a Destiny or something like that.
Developer Nexon's take on a multiplayer third-person shooter plays in some of the same spaces as Genshin Impact, complete with cool-looking characters to unlock and countless...
Ah, yes, it is just like Genshin Impact. Sexy-ass characters, but no good gameplay.
Currencies and materials to grind for, all of which can be bypassed if you're willing to simply cough up your hard-earned cash. And like some of its polished contemporaries, there's a pretty decent game here in spite of a UI that requires a PhD in RPG hogwash to decipher, and an irritating monetization model. Running around with friends while shooting enemies and unleashing interesting supernatural abilities upon alien armies is an undeniably good time, and the deep RPG mechanics and loot systems are a spreadsheet-loving nerd's dream. It's also a fairly pretty game that feels a lot more premium than one might expect.
Yes,
even
I
with
agree.
The occasional frame rate dip or crash. That said, its monetization model is every bit as eyebrow-raising as it sounds.
Okay, before he gets into the monetization, I want you guys to know that this guy is spitting, bro. Usually IGN, little wishy-washy. Everything he's saying right now, he's cooking. He's cooking. Let that man cook. Of course, if you're running around with your friends, you're shooting a fireball, your friend's running around with electricity, and your friend's got ice powers, and all your characters are sexy as hell, yes, it's cool for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. There's just not enough depth into the game. You're fighting these enemies, but it feels like you have no clear direction of why you're doing it. I was surprised by the cutscenes. The cutscenes actually are really pretty. For a free game, I was like, man, these cutscenes are really, really nice. But yes, the game was performing pretty rough, even on a PS5, man. I was getting constant frame rate drops. It's just like, dude, this game is not good enough for the problems it's having, man. There just needs to be a lot more content. You know, these powers that you see at the bottom of the screen, these are the powers you get. If you level all the way up to 100, you're not getting new powers to change out. There needs to be new powers at the very least.
The story and dialogue is laughably bad, and much of the campaign is packed with filler that can be a real snooze. I've spent the vast majority of my 120 hours of playtime dashing around small hub areas, completing repetitive chores in between much more substantial missions and boss battles against robotic kaiju. Those self-contained missions and bosses are exactly the kind of thing I hope for in an action-packed cooperative.
Yes, bro. It's so crazy because there's a couple missions that will take you to a different place. They'll transport you. Those missions are actually not good, are actually not bad. And these boss battles, the best part of the game. Man, this is the potential right here, man. These boss battles, if the whole game was like these boss battles and these special missions, this game could have been something, man.
Some seriously awesome combat, interesting enemies to take down, and a loot system that had me regularly trying out the latest shiny weapon I pulled from some schmuck's corpse. That said, even these more enjoyable bits weren't without major irritations, like how nearly every boss has multiple layers of shielding that have to be peeled off before they can be damaged, most of which
Hey, that's like Destiny low-key though, so.
respawn multiple times or heal if you take too long to remove them.
Yeah.
A few even have shields on top of their shields, so you're constantly stopping what you're doing to shoot a tiny target
He's
and
right.
remove a protective barrier, only to find yourself staring at another one seconds later.
He's not wrong. She felt really good to play. I won't lie. This character, Bunny, she probably felt the best to play, bro.
But those are still bright spots compared to the much more numerous missions you're expected to do in between every story beat,
Yes.
which have you grapple hooking across open world areas to complete intensely monotonous errands. These
Yes.
include a little mini game where you have to collect items from fallen enemies and deposit them into a collection bin, an escort quest where you have
I don't think having only 4 abilities is the problem. They just don't feel good. I actually agree with that too. I still think that having more than just 4 abilities per character would be a great thing. It would kind of incentivize people to level up and try out new abilities. And I think that would keep people on the game longer. It's like, oh, I can get new abilities. Oh, I'll grind until I get some new abilities. That would keep me on the game for longer. There's only these 4 abilities. A lot of the time they don't feel good at all. You're right. Some abilities just straight feel like you're not doing anything. They feel like shit. The melee in this game feels dog shit, dude. The melee is so bad. It feels so weak. He's saying, you just run around the open world doing nothing. Little BS tasks, bro.
have to follow a drone around an area slowly while fighting small waves of baddies, and several variations of missions where you're just standing in a circle as you keep it clear of foes. Not only do most of these involve a whole lot of waiting around for enemies to spawn,
Yeah.
but you'll replay them in every new area until they are both tiresome and woefully predictable. There
Spittin'.
are so many missions like these, and it adds hours upon hours to a roughly 30-hour campaign that would probably be a quarter as long if they just went straight to the stuff that's actually worth playing.
That's probably why they did it though. They're just trying to pad the runtime of the game.
Even if you can forgive the often trite missions, the story itself is consistently a waste of time and absolutely not worth paying attention to. Absolutely brimming with nonsensical sci-fi babble like dimensional walls, inverted data codes, and unleashing Arche. It's one
Bro, he is spitting and he is dragging this game right now. He basically just like, bro, this game is just saying whatever, bro. Whatever hot buzzwords come with a game like this, they're saying it, bro. Dimensional portal, unleash the energy. He's right, bro. Because I'm going to tell you what, this story... I was so uninvested into this story, bro. There was nothing. There was nothing to talk about.
codes and unleashing Arche. It's one of the sillier stories I've seen in a while, and I play Destiny. Most of the dialogue is absolutely atrocious.
And I played Destiny. He already knows what time it is.
At one point, I burst out laughing when a guy said this.
Kickoff will engulf increase. The roars of the Vulgus will fill this land with fear.
And they keep making me talk to this annoying little brat. It's truly heinous stuff.
I'd watch what you're...
Holy shit, check out the boys cut. Oh my god, brother. They be talking about Skytop. Hey, bro, if I could see the curve in your head, you're cooked. Bro really do got the Killmonger. He got the white Killmonger. That's crazy.
I'd watch what you're saying, Glay.
Oh shit, my bad, bro. He's pressing me. That's my bad.
I carried out my side of the operation perfectly.
Thankfully, the most interesting characters are those you can unlock and play as.
Dude, that's
that
so
includes
cringy.
the unflappable electric speedster Bunny, who is my personal favorite, and the sarcastic and smarmy grenade-chucking soldier Lepic. Some of the casts do still seem a bit shallow, largely because you only get a little backstory and character development for most of them. But
I
hearing
agree.
them cheer as you blast monsters to bits and seeing their charming animations, which clearly had more effort put into them than those of the NPCs, is quite nice. Only one of these playable characters
Spittin'.
has an actual quest line associated with them right now.
Bunny?
With more planned for
Or
the future.
Freyna?
That story is one of the better threads currently available, so here's hoping they're quick to add more on that front.
Oh, my beloved daughter, Daya. Hold on a little longer. Your mom will save you no matter what.
Facts. Like, they just throw shit in that. They just throw shit like that in there like you're supposed to be invested. Bump you and your daughter, bro. Who's your daughter? Also, did you just turn old?
Your mom will save you no matter what.
She just turned into her own mom, bro. What?
Actually learning to play as them is great too. One character might control the battlefield with explosive AoE attacks, while another covers enemies in devastating ice-based debuffs.
Wood.
Bunny does insane DPS by running around as much as possible to generate electrical energy, then unleashes it in powerful blasts. Since each of these characters has their own style of play, switching between them offers a markedly different experience. Like how Ajax, a heavy tank with protective abilities, is all about standing your ground instead. Most games with playable characters as its main chase live or die by how compelling those unlockable avatars are, and the first Descendant is loaded with distinctive options that are alluring to obtain.
Loaded? I don't know about loaded, bro. The elemental characters are the coolest, man. The fire, the ice, the electricity, the water character. Those are the coolest characters, bro, on some Pokemon shit. Everybody else, the grenade chucking guy. Oh, I can't wait to unlock the grenade chucking guy. Come on, bro. Oh, he's about to cook. He's about to cook right now. He's about to cook.
Fortunately, aside from the first couple characters you unlock in the opening hours, the process of accessing the rest is dreadfully painful unless you're willing to open your pocketbook. In the name of science, I decided to really dial in and see how much effort it would take to unlock one specific character from start to finish without spending any real money. After 10 hours of repetitive grinding for the required materials, a whopping 8 of which was spent replaying a single mission trying to get one specific key item to drop, and then 20 more hours of waiting for arbitrary time gates to pass.
I knew I wasn't tweaking, bro. The way they set this up, right? When you're trying to unlock a new character, there's special things you need, right? And you can do these specific missions, but these specific missions don't guarantee that the item you need will drop, right? So this motherfucker had to play the same mission. This guy had to play the same mission for 8 hours just to get one of the things he needed to drop, bro. And then when you get those things, you need to craft them, and it will take 16 hours, bro. This game does everything it can to direct you to spending your money. Either that, or you're gonna have to wait 5 years to get anything done.
The experience had nearly broken me. I've got to admit, when the alternative to all of this mindless, soul-destroying grinding and time gating is to simply pay $10, it becomes a pretty appealing proposition to cough up.
That's why they do it, man.
That's the problem. Nexon has intentionally propped up obtuse, overly grindy systems that feel terrible.
Crazy how Warframe gets away with this? Yeah, well, Warframe gets away with this, which means that this game won't. You know what I'm saying? Players will fall for something, but they won't fall for it twice. That's the funny thing about gamers, bro. Every new hero shooter that gets announced, like Concord or Marvel Rivals, gets a lot of hate. You know why? Because Overwatch players are still pissed that they got screwed over, but they don't want to play a different game.
Seemingly just to make it more enticing to pay money. And when there are already paid season passes and a whole slew of optional cosmetics that can only be unlocked with money, did it really need to throw in what is essentially an even more grindy version of Warframe's character unlock system just to annoy me into paying more on top?
Yeah, more grindy than Warframe is so crazy.
Either way, trying to unlock a single character for free was an absolutely excruciating experience that made me feel a whole lot worse about the first Descendant, despite mostly enjoying the actual gameplay.
Do as I say, if you want to live.
Similarly,
boo, boo. Do what I say if you want to live. Bro, shut your ugly.
Upgrades you earn while shotgunning your way through levels are awesome. Loot drops constantly. Most weapons feel distinct and satisfying to play with, and watching the numbers go up as you modify and upgrade every new toy in your arsenal makes the first Descendant hard to put down.
I actually disagree. I don't like that. I don't like how many weapons you get per mission, bro. It felt like so pointless, bro. I'd play one mission, get 30 guns, and then pick one out of them that's like got the best power, and then I'd have to sell all these damn guns. And then I'd play another 2 missions. I'd have 100 more guns. I actually don't like the loot system in this game at all, bro.
Until it forces you into about 15 separate menus to juggle dozens of materials and so many different systems that you might want to keep your inhaler at the ready. This
Upgrading a gun is absolutely pointless in this game. It makes no sense.
Kind of thing is pretty typical for looter shooters, granted, but even by the already gag-inducing standards of the genre, this one's particularly obnoxious to learn, especially since the tutorial robot who shows you the ropes in the social area explains things to you in a series of texts that pass by.
If I had a chance to kill one of you, if I could reach into any video game and strangle. I would rip this bucket of bolts' head off his damn body, bro. I can't stand the way they designed this character. He's the instructor. So you go to him when you need it, when you gotta figure out what's happening in the game. He just yaps. He just drops text at you, right? But the robot doesn't speak. You see all this text right here? He talks like R2-D2. All this text right here, right? But he'll actually just go beep boop boop boop. He'll just do that and he'll move on to the next sentence before you can read this.
Quickly enough to challenge your speed reading skills. Worse yet, these brutally obtuse systems have likewise been given the same arbitrary barriers as weapons, with various currencies and components to craft that can be made a whole lot less annoying if you just pay the piper.
Pay the piper. Man, this game is buns though.
The first Descendant has all the building blocks of a fantastic looter shooter, but they're buried under a pile of monotonous quests, a terrible story, and an infuriating free-to-play model that has influenced its game design in the worst possible way. In its best moments, blasting aliens apart with both fireballs and a satisfying arsenal of weapons makes for a really good time, but at least an equal portion of my time was spent battling perplexing design decisions that tested the limits of my abundant patience. Like its peers, future updates could evolve this live service into a much more consistently enjoyable way to spend time with friends, but for now, it misses the mark too often to make its grind feel worthwhile.
5 out of 10 from IGN. Ooh, mediocre rating from IGN. They put some dirt in your eye. That's gotta sting, bro. I agree, 5 is too high. The first Descendants feels so incredibly lifeless, meaningless, pointless. It's a nothing burger, man. It's so bad. Well, they gave She-Hulk a 9, so I don't trust IGN anymore, but I did enjoy She-Hulk. Am I tweaking?
We been steady mob, yeah. Running routes, we mob, yeah. In a whip, we mob, yeah. Money straight up past, yeah. Talking shit gon' cost, yeah.